Right, hi everyone, I'm just going to do another video, but this time I'm going to look at Romeo and Juliet and it's question 2. Now this is the essay, so I'm going to spend about 40 minutes, it says, on question 2. So they want me to write a bit more than they did on the extract. Extracts were just spot and comments, remember, we're going to find 5 spot and comments, and that comment has to be developed. You look at the comment, you write down, you basically say this is what Shakespeare says, this is what I think it means, and then you go why, how or so to try and get that extra little bit of detail. This is a little bit different. Instead of worrying about quotes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus more on the actual key events or moments that I can use as part of my answer. Right, so let's have a little look here. Romeo and Juliet is a play about conflict. Okay, so conflict, that's what they want me to focus my ideas about. Let's write about some of the conflicts in the play and how Shakespeare presented them. So some of the conflicts, how does he present them? So what's he saying? What are we learning from him? What do we get when these people are having the conflicts? I'm going to talk about characters. I'm going to try and talk about things that happen when I write down what I can remember about conflict or violence or fights in this particular play. Now the first thing I'm going to try and do is come up with 5, because 5 is a great magic number to have. 5 key ideas of things that I might want to use in my answer. So in any kind of order, I know there's a fight at the start. That's a fight. I can talk about that in the conflict. I know that there's the families don't like each other. So the family feud. I might talk about the fight in the middle, the middle fight, and that's obviously that's Mercutio, Tybalt, and Romeo, kind of involved with that. I'm going to try and pick out the fact. Well, Juliet and her dad. That's conflict when they're arguing about whether she's going to marry Paris or not. So I might be able to use that one. And then I'll think, because it's conflict, I'm going to talk about the end of the conflict, because it doesn't last. By the end of the play, it's kind of sorted. So now I've suddenly got 5 little paragraphs I can use. So that's all right. So let's have a think then. So what kind of order am I going to put that in? I might start off with the families first. Fight at the start, of course. They're probably going to be linked together quite a lot. 3, 4, and 5. So that's the order I'm going to go and deal with it. So before I get on to that, I'm going to obviously need to think about my comments. So what am I saying about the fight at the start? I could say about how Benvolio wants to stop it. We might talk about the fact that it's the servants and then the people who are sort of their superiors, the nobles, they step in and kind of, the servants start it and the nobles carry it on. And even Lord Capulet and Lord Montague come in and start dealing with it and trying to get involved. So it really does escalate. So I'm going to put that as escalating. Okay, all I'm doing is thinking, like, what do I want to say about it? What can I remember about it? What does it tell me about it? So we've got a family feud. Well, that's obviously the Monts and the Caps. We don't know why. So it's unknown. Don't know why they're doing it. They just do. It's been the same for... And the bit I can remember, it just popped into my head there. It talks about an ancient grudge. So I might try and get that in if I can. The sense that it's been around for ages. No one's quite sure why. The middle fight is the fact that I remember that Mercutio sticks up for Romeo. He thinks that Romeo's been a bit of a coward. And so sticks up for Romeo. And he goes... but then he is himself killed. And then we know that Tybalt is killed for revenge. So Romeo sticks up and tries to say, oh my God, I can't believe that people fight in my battles for me, so I'll kind of sort it out. And he loses his sense of what's right and wrong. He just kind of loses it completely, and that's what happens there. Juliet and Dad, obviously it's all about Juliet's refusing to marry Paris. Obviously she can't marry Paris because she's already married. Just like Romeo didn't want to fight Tybalt because he's now part of his family, having married Juliet. So refusing to marry Paris, and we know that Dad goes crazy about that. Dad gets angry about that. I've just remembered another quote. My fingers itch, which is a nice, easy, short one to remember. That's Lord Capulet saying that he wants to, he feels like he's going to strike his own daughter. He's that angry. Okay, so then we've got the end of the conflict, so that stops it. What stops it is the deaths of the children of Romeo and Juliet. And the other quote that's just popped into my head because it's really easy is that Lord Capulet calls Lord Montague brother Montague to show that they're now family, that they've sort of stopped. They've stopped the fighting. So now I've suddenly got a few things that I can talk about in my essay. I've got the key idea. I've got an order for it. I've tried to say what it means and what I could sort of come off straight off the top of my head. And then we start thinking about in a minute I'll try and develop that by using our old friends why, how, and so. Put those three things together and we'll see how it goes. Right, so let me just think. Now, how might I start it? Well, the overview is the basic answer. So what is he saying about conflict? Okay, well, he might want to say something like, I don't know, I'm going to use words from the question. So I'm going to say conflict is an important theme or idea in Romeo and Juliet. And because Romeo and Juliet here is the name of the play, I'm going to have to do that and show that. I'm not talking about the characters, I'm talking about the play. Then I've got my super useful word in English, which is because. Why is it important? Because it contrasts. They love the word contrast. Their love with the fight that happens. Let's see, what can I say? On the streets of Verona. So straight away I'm just showing what I know basically, and that's all I need to worry about. When I then come in to do the first one, that might be my overview. And that's a lovely little phrase, is an important. So Romeo is an important character. Conflict is an important theme. Is an important is a great little phrase to use, and because is a lovely word to have in there as well. Right, so if we were trying to think of our first one, we said about the family feud. So we're going to say that. We're going to start off, here's my new one, and go, the play is set against the feud or the fight between the Capulets and the Montagues. Now, no one's saying anything crazily strange or weird or clever here. We're just trying to say everything we can think of. We try and write it down. We don't leave anything behind. We try and do our best with that. I'm going to say, before I was talking about how it was unknown. That was my little quick plan that I did. So I've mentioned them. Now I'm going to talk about the idea of it being unknown. So let's say that no one knows why the families hate each other, but there has been a problem for years. And then we've got our quote, which is Ancient Grudge. That's near where he was talking about the star-crossed lovers. That was in the prologue. It says, it is, because we've got to try and make it sound good, it is an ancient grudge which emphasizes just how long the families have been fighting for. See, so straight away I've not said anything over the top, anything complicated, but what I have tried to do is just say what I know and just writing it down as clearly as I can. I don't want to kind of confuse my reader. I don't want to lose them. I want them to see that I really know what I'm talking about. We'll do one more for luck, I suppose, and let's get one of the others, shall we say. Okay, let's Juliet married into Paris. That was the fourth paragraph. I'm going to say something else. It's not, they're not fighting like the Montagues and Capulets are fighting. It's a different sort of fighting. It's a conflict between families. So I'm going to say that there is also conflict in the play between the family members. Just writing down what I know. Nothing clever, nothing complicated. So for example, when Juliet is told by her father that she should marry Paris, she refuses, and we all know what happens next. He becomes very angry. Now, this is when we start thinking about the why. Why is he so angry? Well, you'll remember from class we were saying about how because he expects a girl, his daughter, to obey him. That was what was true at the time. To obey him. She's supposed to do what he wants to do. To obey him. But that's a problem because she can't, because, there's that word again, nothing wrong with a bit of because. She can't because she is already married. And how is that a problem, really? Already married? Well, the main reason is, and she can't tell them. She can't tell him because, there we are again, Romeo has just killed Sybil. So there's no way on earth that Juliet's dad is going to listen to anything she's positive she has to say about Romeo has just killed Sybil. Okay, his anger is shown. Let me get another bit of paper. Is shown when it says, or when he says, you could say, put in, says, my fingers itch. Okay, this shows that he wants to hit her. I'm going to say because again. He is so angry. Why is he angry? That she will not do what he tells her to. He doesn't even ask her. He says, you're going to get married to Paris. So suddenly I've got another little bit there. That's working quite good. Now I've got 40 minutes, remember. I haven't got ages. So that is probably fine. You divide, times that by another 4 paragraphs, and you'll probably be sort of nicely into about 40 minutes. We're not doing amazing here. We're trying to show what we know, like you would in any exam. So I hope that helps. We'll do another video about how to approach revising Romeo and Juliet, and we'll talk about the characters, and we'll talk about the themes as well. Okay, so keep watching for that, and good luck. See how it goes.